I gave my parents $2,500 a month and they left me out of the family vacation. We didn't want you there, my dad said. The next day, my phone wouldn't stop blowing up. I don't know what I expected when I found out my entire family had gone on vacation without me. Confusion? Hurt? Anger? Yeah, all of that hit me at once. But nothing compared to what came next. It started when my younger brother, Matt, posted a picture on Instagram. The whole family, my parents, my siblings, even my cousins, were standing on a white sandy beach, all smiles, drinks in hand. The caption read, "Much needed family getaway." Family. I stared at the screen, reading that word over and over again, waiting for my name to appear somewhere in the comments. Maybe a joke about how I had to stay behind for work. Maybe a mention that I'd be joining them later. Nothing. I scrolled through more posts, my heart pounding. Pictures of them at a 5-star resort, eating at fancy restaurants, going on boat tours. I checked my messages, my email. No invite. No heads up. Just silence. That's when I called my dad. It rang twice before he picked up. "Hey, son," he said casually, like he hadn't just been caught red-handed. I didn't waste time. "Where are you guys?" A pause. Then, "On vacation." I clenched my jaw. "Without me?" He sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. "Look, we didn't think you'd want to come." "You didn't think I'd want to come?" My voice came out sharp. "Are you kidding me? You've been talking about this trip for months. I send you money every single month to help out, and you didn't even ask if I wanted to go." Another pause. Then the words that changed everything. "We didn't want you there." I felt the air leave my lungs. "What? You're always busy. Always working. Honestly, you just bring the mood down." His tone was so casual, so dismissive, like I was some acquaintance who had invited himself to a party. "We thought it'd be better this way." I didn't even realize I had been gripping my phone so tightly until my knuckles started to hurt. "I send you $2,500 a month," I said slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. "I pay your bills. I've covered emergencies, helped with debt. And you thought it'd be better this way? Don't make this a big deal," he muttered. "You wouldn't have enjoyed it anyway." I hung up. No yelling. No arguing. Just a cold, final click. I sat there, staring at the screen, my entire body numb. And that's when I made my decision. They were on their own now. I don't know how long I sat there after hanging up. Minutes? Hours? My mind kept replaying my dad's words. "We didn't want you there." It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a deliberate choice. And I was done. That night, I logged into my banking app and started making changes. First, I stopped the automatic transfers. No more $2,500 a month. No more safety net. Then I checked my joint account with my parents, the one I had been dumping money into for family emergencies. The balance was almost empty. Of course. I took what little was left and transferred it to my personal account. Then I did something I should have done a long time ago. I blocked my parents. Blocked my dad. Blocked my mom. Blocked my siblings. For the first time in years, I wasn't their bank. And I went to bed feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. The next morning, my phone was vibrating nonstop. Even though I had blocked my family, I hadn't blocked everyone. Messages were pouring in from extended relatives, from family friends, people I hadn't heard from in months. The first message I opened was from my aunt. "Hey, your mom just called me crying. What's going on? She says you're refusing to help them anymore?" The next one was from my cousin Melissa. "Dude, did you really cut off your parents? What happened?" And then came the guilt-tripping texts. "You're being really selfish. They did everything for you growing up. This is how you treat family?" But there was one message that stood out from the rest. It was from an unknown number. "You think you can just abandon us like that? After everything we've done for you? You're pathetic. Hope you enjoyed being alone." I knew exactly who it was from. My dad. I stared at the message, feeling nothing. Not anger, not sadness. Just exhaustion. They weren't apologizing. They weren't acknowledging what they did. They were mad at me, because they lost their golden goose. and for the first time in my life, I didn't care. I put my phone down and went to make breakfast. They could scream all they wanted. They could beg, guilt trip, insult me. I wasn't going back. They were finally going to learn what life was like without me. The silence didn't last long. By the afternoon, someone was pounding on my door. I looked through the peephole. My sister, Anna. I considered ignoring her, but I knew she wouldn't leave. Sighing, I opened the door. She stormed in without waiting for an invitation. "What the hell, Eric?" I crossed my arms. "What?" She spun around, eyes blazing. "Mom's been crying all morning. Dad's furious. They said you just cut them off with no warning." I let out a short laugh. "No warning? You mean like how they went on vacation without me? Like how they didn't want me there?" Anna's mouth opened, but no words came out. I shook my head. "They've been using me for years, Anna. I've paid their bills, covered their debts, gave them everything they asked for. And how do they thank me? By pretending I don't exist unless they need money." She swallowed hard. "It's not like that. Isn't it?" I cut in. "Be honest, Anna. Did they even mention me on the trip? Did anyone ask why I wasn't there?" Her silence told me everything. I exhaled. "I'm done." Anna's face softened. "But they need you." I held up a hand. "No. They need my money. Not me. And if they don't respect me, they don't get my help. Simple as that." She ran a hand through her hair, looking frustrated. "Eric, they're our parents. We can't just abandon them." I stared at her. "Then you help them." She blinked. "What?" "You heard me. If you think they deserve that money so much, you start paying their bills. Let's see how long you last before they drain you dry." Anna bit her lip, suddenly very interested in her shoes. "Yeah. That's what I thought." She turned to leave, pausing at the door. "They're not gonna stop, you know." I leaned against the wall. "Neither am I." She left without another word. I locked the door behind her and smiled for the first time in days. Let them come. I wasn't bending this time. I thought cutting them off would be the end of it. That they'd throw their tantrum, realize I wasn't budging, and eventually move on. I was wrong. The next morning, my boss called me into his office. "Eric, got a minute?" His tone was unreadable. I stepped in, a sinking feeling in my gut. "Yeah, what's up?" He sighed, rubbing his temples. "I got a weird call this morning. From your mother." My stomach dropped. "You're kidding." "I wish I was." He leaned forward. "She told me you were having a mental breakdown and needed some time off. Said you were making impulsive financial decisions and might regret them later." I gritted my teeth. "Of course. When guilt-tripping didn't work, they went straight to sabotage. I told her your personal life is none of my business." He continued, watching me carefully. "But I need to ask, everything okay?" I took a deep breath. "Yeah. I just stopped financially supporting my parents. They're mad about it." He let out a low whistle. "Ah. That explains it." I nodded. "Yeah. Sorry they dragged you into it." He waved a hand. "Not your fault. But Eric, if they pull this again, let me know. I don't tolerate harassment, even if it's from family." I left his office fuming. They were getting desperate. Good. When I got back to my desk, I checked my phone. 17 missed calls. And a single text from my mom. "If you don't answer, we'll have no choice but to involve the rest of the family." I exhaled slowly. They still thought they could force me into submission. I was about to show them just how wrong they were. By the time I got home that evening, my phone had practically turned into a war zone. More missed calls. More texts. My voicemail was full. I scrolled through the messages, shaking my head. "Mom, we don't understand why you're doing this to us." "Dad, enough of this nonsense. Call me now." "Anna, they're talking about selling stuff to make ends meet. Are you really okay with that?" "Uncle Jim, Eric, your mom called me in tears. Can you at least talk to her?" "Cousin Melissa, dude. What's going on? Your parents said you're punishing them for no reason." I actually laughed at that one. "No reason?" I scrolled further. "Mom, your father and I are struggling. If you had any heart, you'd help us. We are your parents. Dad, you're acting like a selfish brat. You owe us after everything we've done for you. There it was. The real reason they were so upset. Not because they miss me. Not because they wanted to fix things. But because they truly believed I owed them. For years I had bent over backward for them. Given them money. Paid their bills. Bailed them out of situations they never learned from. And they had the audacity to treat me like I was ungrateful? I tossed my phone on the table and rubbed my face. They weren't getting it. They still thought I was bluffing. That if they pushed hard enough, I'd cave like I always did. I needed to make one thing clear. I wasn't coming back. I picked up my phone and started typing. Me, I don't owe you anything. I hit send. Then I added. Me, I've supported you for years. You left me out of a family vacation and didn't even have the decency to be honest about it. That showed me exactly where I stand with you. You only care about me when I'm paying for things. That ends now. I hesitated for only a second before adding one last line. Me, find someone else to fund your lifestyle. I'm done. Then I hit block. On both of them. On Anna. On anyone else who thought they could manipulate me back into submission. The moment I did it, a strange thing happened. I exhaled. Like I had been holding my breath for years without realizing it. No more expectations. No more guilt. No more bending over backward for people who saw me as nothing more than a walking ATM. For the first time in a long, long time, I was free. For the first time in years, my bank account stayed exactly the same at the end of the month. No massive withdrawals. No last-minute requests for just a little extra. No random charges I barely remembered agreeing to. It was mine. At first, I thought I'd feel guilty. That old habit of worrying about my parents, about their bills, about whether they'd have enough to get by, it was ingrained in me. But after a few days of silence, something became painfully obvious. They weren't homeless. They weren't starving. They were just inconvenienced. And the realization made me furious. I had spent years putting my own goals on hold, making sacrifices, skipping out on things I wanted, all so they could live comfortably. And the moment I stopped, the moment they actually had to budget like normal adults, they threw a tantrum. They didn't need me. They had just preferred to use me. And now that the well had dried up, they were scrambling. The first week was silent. The second week? My phone started buzzing from new numbers. Unknown caller. Voicemail. Another unknown caller. Another voicemail. They had started using different phones. Curious, I finally listened to one. It was my mother, her voice dripping with fake concern. Eric, honey, I just wanted to check in. We haven't heard from you. I hope you're okay. Maybe we can sit down and talk this out? Call me back, sweetie. We miss you. I almost laughed out loud. We miss you. Yeah. They missed their income source. I deleted the voicemail and ignored the rest. But then, one night, I got a text from an actual friend. Josh, hey man. Your mom just messaged me on Facebook. You good? I blinked. They were reaching out to my friends now? I responded, Josh, what did she say? A screenshot came through. Mom, Josh, I'm so sorry to reach out like this, but I'm really worried about Eric. He's been acting strangely, cutting off his family, and making rash decisions. We're afraid he's struggling mentally and pushing everyone away. If you hear from him, please let me know. We just want to help. I stared at the message, my blood boiling. They weren't just trying to guilt me. They were trying to make me look unstable. I immediately called Josh. Dude, I swear I don't believe her, he said before I even spoke. I just thought you should know. I exhaled. Thanks, man. They're just mad I won't send them money anymore. Josh snorted. Yeah, figured. Just wanted to check. We talked for a bit, and after I hung up, I sat there for a long time, thinking. My parents weren't desperate. They weren't helpless. They were manipulative. And this was their final play. If they couldn't bully me into giving them money, they tried to shame me into it. Turn my friends against me. Make me look like the bad guy. And that was the last straw. If they wanted to play dirty? Fine. They had no idea what was coming next. I knew my parents wouldn't stop. Not until I made it impossible for them to keep pulling these stunts. So I decided to do something I'd never done before. I told everyone the truth. I started with a simple post on Facebook, nothing dramatic, nothing emotional, just the cold, hard facts. Hey everyone, just to clear up some confusion, I'm not having a mental breakdown. I haven't abandoned my family. I've simply stopped giving my parents money every month. For years I covered their bills, their debts, and their expenses while they lived comfortably. In return, they excluded me from family vacations, talked down to me, and only reached out when they needed something. Now that I've cut them off financially, they're telling people I'm unstable. If you hear anything like that from them, now you know the truth. Thanks. I hit post and sat back. Within minutes, the reactions started rolling in. Comments. Messages. People reaching out, some shocked, some furious on my behalf. My cousin Melissa, wait. What? They went on vacation without you but used your money? Uncle Jim, son, I had no idea. You did the right thing. Don't let them guilt you. Aunt Lisa, wow. I can't believe they're trying to spin this like you're the bad guy. That's disgusting. And then came the best part. People started calling them out. My uncle straight up posted, "How are you struggling when Eric was sending you $2,500 a month? That's more than some people make in rent." Another cousin added, "Y'all had no problem spending his money. Guess you just have a problem now that you can't." The narrative was slipping from their grasp. And I knew they were losing their minds over it. It didn't take long before my sister, Anna, texted me. "Anna, are you serious right now? You're airing family business on Facebook?" Me, no, I'm correcting the lies our parents have been spreading. Anna, this is humiliating for them. Me, they should have thought about that before they tried to make me look crazy. No response. Yeah. That's what I thought. I could almost hear the chaos unfolding on their end. But I wasn't done yet. Since they wanted to get other people involved, I had one last move to make. I picked up my phone and dialed my parents' landlord. It was time they learned what life was like without me. The landlord picked up after a few rings. "Hey, Mr. Dawson. It's Eric." There was a pause. "Eric? Everything okay?" I took a breath. "Yeah, just calling to give you a heads up. I won't be covering my parents' rent anymore. Whatever arrangements we had, consider them done." Silence. Then, a low chuckle. Well, I was wondering when this day would come. That caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" Mr. Dawson sighed. "Your parents have been late on rent a lot over the years. Always told me, oh, our son will cover it. Don't worry. They treated it like a magic fix." I clenched my jaw. Of course they did. "Well," I said, "they're on their own now." He exhaled sharply. "Understood. I'll be expecting their payment on time next month. If they don't have it, well, that's their problem now." We said our goodbyes, and I hung up, feeling something close to satisfaction. This was it. No more easy outs. No more relying on me to clean up their mess. Reality was about to hit them, hard. And I was finally free. It took less than 24 hours for the panic to set in. The first sign? My mom showed up at my apartment. I was in the middle of dinner when the knocking started, loud, rapid, desperate. I checked the peephole. There she was, shifting anxiously from foot to foot, phone in hand. I considered ignoring her, letting her stand out there and stew in the mess she created. But I wanted to hear what excuse she'd come up with this time. I opened the door but didn't step aside. "What do you want?" Her eyes were red, face puffy like she'd been crying. "Eric, please. Can we talk?" I folded my arms. "Talk about what?" She swallowed hard. "Mr. Dawson called. Here we go. He said you told him you're not paying the rent anymore." Her voice wobbled like she couldn't believe it was real. I shrugged. "Yeah. I told you I'm done." Tears welled up in her eyes. "Eric, we need you." "No," I said, voice firm. "You need my money." She flinched. "We raised you. We took care of you. And now, when we need help, you turn your back on us?" I laughed dryly. You didn't seem to need me when you booked that vacation. Or when you told me we didn't want you there. Her mouth opened. Closed. No words came out. So I kept going. You were fine spending my money when it benefited you. But now that you actually have to handle things on your own, now it's a crisis? I shook my head. I'm not your safety net anymore. Tears spilled over her cheeks. So you're just going to let us struggle? I looked her dead in the eye. You'll figure it out. Her breath hitched, and for a second, she just stood there, stunned. Then, her sadness twisted into something else. Anger. Her eyes hardened. Fine, she spat. If this is who you want to be, don't expect us to forgive you. I leaned against the doorframe, unfazed. Forgive me for what? Setting boundaries? Taking back my life? I shook my head. No, Mom. The only people who need to ask for forgiveness are you and Dad. Her face twisted in fury, but she had no comeback. Because she knew I was right. I took a step back and shut the door in her face. I stood there for a moment, listening to the sound of her footsteps fading. And then? I smiled. Because for the first time in my life, I had won. The fallout was immediate. Within hours, my sister Anna texted me. Anna, Mom came home hysterical. What did you say to her? Me, the truth. Anna, you're being cruel. She's devastated. Me, she's devastated because she lost control, not because she lost me. No response. Then, a text from my dad, short, cold, straight to the point. Dad, you made your choice. Don't come crawling back when you regret it. I stared at the screen for a long time before finally typing. Me, I won't. And I meant it. They wanted me to feel guilty. To doubt myself. To crumble and come running back, wallet in hand. But that wasn't happening. Not now. Not ever. Days passed. Then a week. Then 2. The silence stretched on. And you know what? It felt good. For the first time in years, my paycheck was mine. No sudden requests. No financial black hole. I could save. Travel. Plan for my future instead of holding up theirs. I wasn't their bank. I wasn't their crutch. I was free. And if they never spoke to me again, that was their loss. Because I had finally learned the most important lesson of all. Family isn't about blood. It's about respect. And if they couldn't give me that, they didn't deserve a place in my life.